Hello and welcome to Gangzol here. My name is Ryan Sampson, the host and producer of the show. That's my guy, Frankie Vittorini from U Stadium. We're going to be doing a series of episodes here answering the biggest questions in the Jets offseason. And we're going to start off with one of the biggest questions that Jets fans seem to be asking themselves on social media as the draft hype is building up, Frankie, is should the Jets trade up for the number one pick with the Titans to go get their quarterback of the future in Cam Ward? Now, let's set the stage here, Frankie. The Jets are picking 7th in the NFL draft this year. The Titans are picking 1. It would take quite a substantial haul to go up and trade for the number 1 pick from 7 to 1 and go get the quarterback in Cam Ward, who many draft pundits are designating as the best quarterback in this class. While it may not be the best quarterback class in recent memory, Cam Ward seems to be pretty special. So that's where I'm going to kick it off here with you, Frankie. Should the Jets trade up for the number 1 pick to go get their quarterback of the future in Cam Ward?
You're damn right they should. You're damn right they should. It is time. It is time for New Yorkers to finally settle in and look at the best quarterback to ever put on the green and white. And that person would be Mr. Cam Ward. I'm telling you, Ryan, I've been looking at Cam Ward over the last couple days. I dove in a little bit last week. This kid is electric. This kid plays quarterback the way that the league is going. Christopher Johnson's going to love this kid because he actually does play quarterback and offense the way the league is going. He runs the RPO extremely effectively. He is very balanced in his approach. He gets the ball out when he needs to. He doesn't hold on to it too long, but when he does, it's going to be a big play down the field. He doesn't take bad sacks. He's a grinder. He's a leader. He's a worker. His favorite player is my favorite player in NBA history. He's a Kobe Bryant guy. He appreciates being the first guy in and the last guy out. I'm just saying, Cam Ward, there's a reason he broke the Division I passing touchdown record for most passing touchdowns ever in Division I FCS, or what is it, FBS? I always forget.
He played 5
FCS
seasons.
history.
That's why.
Yeah. Regardless, Ryan, this kid is big time. This kid is a little, I hate using this term, but he's like a budget version of Jaden Daniels. He's a better Geno Smith. He reminds me of one of those kind of quarterbacks that he doesn't look necessarily to run first, but if he needs to, he finds time in the pocket. It's a last resort for him, but his arm, his ability to dissect defenses, he can carve people up, man. He really is electric. People online were talking about him viewing Cam Ward as an analogy of looking at an electrical storm. That's a great analogy. You look at him, Rye, when you go through his tape, and then you sit back and you're like, holy crap, what the hell did I just watch? Seriously, what did I just watch? So the kid is fantastic. Now, is he, a top 3 pick in last year's draft? Maybe he's 3rd. Maybe he's better than Drake made of some. Is he better than Daniels and Caleb? Probably not. But the Jets need a quarterback. And if it's only going to cost an extra 1, you swap this year's first and an extra 1 with a couple 2s, do it. Don't even think about it. Get a guy that could be a franchise quarterback. You want one? It's there. Forget waiting till next year. You know I'm Mr. Tank, I guess. They call me Tanky V now. I'm good. Move up and get the guy that could be the franchise quarterback, and I think he will be. I don't know if he'll be as good as Jaden, but I think he's a budget version of Jaden Daniels. He really is. They play very, very similarly. A lot of these quarterbacks now play like that, by the way. That's why you're starting to see that trend kind of kicking in the NFL.
So I hear you, Frankie, and I know you're excited about this kid. I've seen your social media hype about him. He is, without a doubt, the number 1 quarterback in this draft class. Originally, it was supposed to be Shador, but I think people finally watched the film and said Cam looks more special. Cam looks like the legit quarterback. The thing I have a big question for, Frankie, is the cost worth for something that you just said, and that caught my attention, is could he be the quarterback of the future of the Jets? And that's where I ask for you to assess that value, because I think that's what someone like a Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn are going to be thinking about is, could this guy I need to know more if he will be the future quarterback of this franchise and if he can finally solve the Jets quarterback issue. My problem is you're taking a massive risk if you are Muji and you are Glenn and trading high valuable assets for a shot at someone for the number one pick and saying this is the guy. And if he doesn't look good year one, fans are going to freak. And that is going to be a bad look for you as a new head coach and a new GM taking your first time jobs ever and making such a massive swing. I wonder if the risk is not worth it.
Well, let me ask you this. How long do you have in the NFL these days if you're a new head coach or a GM? How many years do you have to get things ready? You have what?
3.
Right, I think you have
3.
3, maybe 4.
I think it's
Ryan,
3 years.
Yeah, Ryan, if they don't get this quarterback situation right, they're not going to have enough time necessarily to wait for year 2 or year 3. And what if you screw it up in year 2? Or and I mean, if they get the quarterback wrong next year, Rye, arguably they're done.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
they've like, you know, they've what are they? They've set their grave up. Like it's over for them. So I think get it right as soon as you can if you have a prospect like this. I'm not talking about anybody else in this draft, by the way. Cam Ward is the QB1 by a mile in this draft, and it's not even close. He's on his own planet. He's in his own universe. He is the best quarterback in this draft. He would be in consideration for being one of the best quarterbacks also in last year's draft, which is one of the best quarterback drafts we've seen in years. He does everything you're looking for. He makes playing quarterback also look easy, whereas Shador, it looks hard,
right?
And he's doing too much. Cam Ward, hike, ball's coming out in half a second. When he needs to roll out, calm, balance.
So you
pressure
think he
comes
starts,
to him. He slides pressure. He's throwing it multiple arm angles.
Is he pulling the Jaden Daniels starting day one?
You know what? I wouldn't, but you could.
So therein lies the real problem for me with trading up for the number one pick. If I'm trading up for the number one pick, I'm expecting a Trevor Lawrence type prospect. I'm expecting a Jaden Daniels type prospect, a Caleb Williams. They are starting day one for me. I cannot, in my good conscience, run a franchise if I was Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji and say, yeah, we'll give up all these picks. We'll give up all this value to go get our guy. Oh, and he's not going to start the first week. What? Fans would have a riot outside MetLife Stadium if you decide to go with a Tyrod Taylor or some other quarterback you pick up off the street and you don't even start the number one pick. That's what I'm saying,
Ryan,
Frankie. You have to
I have
think,
a perfect solution.
But hang on. You have to think about the truth in the matter. The pressure that would be on this kid would be immediate. Fans would be clamoring, Cam Ward, you're going out there and we need you to succeed. Because that's today's NFL. We need to know right away. And I'm not saying it's the right thing, mind you. I'm not saying this is the right way to think as an NFL fan or even a GM. But you need immediate return on your investment. That is what the NFL's current day is. And that's the way it just has been. And you've seen teams now admit mistakes when they draft a kid in the first round and he's the bust in the first year. They'll quickly turn the page and move on to the next thing. So I'm just telling you, Frankie, if you're telling me you're trading up all these assets to go get the number one pick and say Cam Ward's our guy and you don't start him, that's a bigger issue.
Yeah, I hear you. And I actually agree with you for the most part, but I'll say this. I think the Jets need to absolutely get it right with Cam Ward. If they were to give up a first rounder, 2 first rounders, a few 2s, if they're going to make that move and they're going to give up those assets to get him, they need to make sure it will work, not only in the short term, but also in the long term. He has to be your guy for 5 to 7 years, barring injury. I'll say this, the best possibility you'll have in terms of him being successful is if you sit him and let him learn. But I don't want him to sit the whole year. I want him to sit. He might take over the job after a month or 2. I want him to do what Drake May did in New England. Brissett starts the year. Eventually, May starts picking things up. You feel like you can give him the keys. Sometimes with training camps now, Ryan, practices, it takes a little bit longer for kids to get it because of, they cut everything down these days and can't do 2-a-days. And then, there's certain restrictions with the NFL. Let him take over the job. I just don't want him to be given the job. He may take it over by week 1. Come week 1. He might take it over by week 5. Maybe it takes until week 10. But the point is, I don't want to rush anything, because if the Jets make this move in this drought and to what you were just saying about these fans, you can't get this quarterback wrong. There's no way. If that drought hits, 16, 17, 18, 20 years, there'll really be riots out there. So I would be a little more patient, but I think you could start him week 1. I've looked at him on film. The last couple nights, I got sold. I wasn't sold yet on Cam Ward. He was always my QB1, but I wasn't like, last year I was saying, he would go where basically Bo Nix went, or somewhere in like the mid first, in the mid ones. No, he's a top 5 pick this year. He's a top 5 pick last year. He'd be a top 5 pick the year before that and the year before that, assuming he came out at this point. I'm saying Cam Ward to me is the real deal. And if Tennessee is open for business, give him a call. Now, that's another thing I'm sure you're going to ask. Why is Mike Borgonzi okay trading that pick if Cam Ward's everything? Why?
Top GM candidate for the Jets and turned them down for the Titans, and he wanted that number 1 pick because that was one of the reasons. It'd be interesting to see, Frankie, how the Titans go about that, and if they are open for business. We have not heard they are officially open for business. There's only rumors. But that is what Jets fans are talking about. And that is one of the biggest storylines in this offseason. Jets fans, let us know what you think. Hit us up in the comments below in this video on YouTube. Let us know what you think. Should the Jets trade up for the number 1 pick to go get Cam Ward? For Ryan Sampson, that's Frankie Vittorini. Go Jets.